All right, so welcome back to part two of our fall welcome back series on arguments with our special guest, Mr. Kenneth Walker, lawyer out of Dallas, Texas. We're going to jump right into our final set of questions. And the first one is, what's the best argument you ever heard from an opposing counsel? Like
Um,
in 5 words or less. No, I'm just
okay. Let me modify the question a little bit because after 35 years, it's hard to sort through all the arguments. So
That's very
I'll
lawyerly of you. I want you to know.
so let me reframe it as the best what's the best type of argument
Okay.
that I've heard.
Mhm.
The best type of argument is I had a law school professor who used to say, hit me right between the eyes with your argument.
Okay.
Okay. And so the best arguments hits your audience right between the eyes in making the point.
Okay.
And that's where you lined up the facts, the law, and your reasoning so well that when you articulate it, it's almost like instantly you can see in the other person's eye, got it.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. I like that. And I think I'll give you your credit. That was a better question, a better way to ask that question because it provided a better answer that can be more general, not just in law, but in all types of writing with arguments. Let all your facts hit right between the eye, line up. So it's like, yep, that's the case right there. That you just made the point, and I don't very much have any doubt about that point you made.
Exactly.
I like it. I like it. So I will give you liberty to redefine, rework this question that I'm about to ask you.
Okay. All right.
What's the craziest argument you ever heard? Craziest type of argument you've ever heard?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rework that one as well because there are just too many of them. Okay.
That'll be a whole nother video of just
yeah. Oh my God. And there's too much trauma trying to
yeah.
relive them. So let me rework the question to the worst types of arguments that I've heard and that I hear are arguments that they're unclear, illogical, and wander away from the main point.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty bad argument. That also sounds like most of my students' first arguments of the semester.
And you can add to that, usually the volume is turned up to maximum.
Yeah.
The worse it is, the louder it tends to get. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, that's most of my students' first arguments of the semester. But what they have the privilege of, and what I strongly suggest for most people, is to write at least one rough draft, because usually I can catch it in the rough draft with them and we can start to make those adjustments and changes so that it can become clearer. It can be more concise. It can not be so loud. It can not be full of opinions and more facts and more analysis. So, just a plug, write drafts, write rough drafts before you just put an argument out there,
Well, I blame, I guess, two things for why we get so many bad arguments. One is the word argument itself.
Yeah.
It has multiple meanings. And the most common experience people have with argument is about a verbal fight, okay,
Exactly.
a conflict where it's no holds barred. I just spew out whatever venom I want to spew, okay. But that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about persuasive
Yeah,
arguments.
exactly.
Okay. Um, and then the other thing I blame is, television and media and Lord knows the internet and all of that, where people uh, model
Mhm.
the first type of argument where I'm spewing venom
Yeah,
as opposed to trying to persuade.
exactly.
Yeah, so you know, you got a big job.
I do, because you're trying to win people to your side. You're not just trying to intimidate them to your side. And that's the
Right.
difference between that kind of spewing of verbal just foulness that you see when people are, versus like a crafted narrative, artful argument that is meant to persuade you to. I may not completely agree with you, I may not even change my position, but I can at least acknowledge that you made a good argument and you
Yes.
had good points. And that's really the point. It's not to persuasion doesn't mean in the argument, in a written argument, to completely turn somebody over to your side. It just means you persuaded them to hear your side and
Yeah.
to empathize with your side, you know?
Those are two very important points. At least to get a fair hearing
Yeah,
and hopefully an empathetic hearing.
yeah,
Uh, win, lose, or draw.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So no spewing, people.
No, no,
Don't spew on the page,
no,
please.
no,
Uh,
no, no,
If
no,
you go into a courtroom, please do not spew in front of a judge. No
no, no,
spewing.
no. That's a very foul
Yes,
thing.
it is. Like, I don't want to read 20 spews at me every few weeks, and I'm sure a judge does not want to be spewed at either.
No, no.
If you take nothing else away from this, don't spew. All right, so our final question for today is for any students who are out there, whether they're high school students or college students looking to go to law school, or they're law school students and they don't feel like they're strong writers, do you have any advice for them to help them feel more confident as writers, especially of legal writing and things like that?
Um, yeah, this applies to legal writing, but I think it applies to writing generally, and you tell me whether you agree or not. First, to build your writing skills,
Mhm.
you have to read. You have to build your reading skills. It's impossible to be a good writer
Mhm.
without first being a good reader.
True, true.
And so find things and topics that you enjoy reading
Mhm.
and read as much of it as you can. Make sure it is quality reading so that it's well written.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter whether it's well written fiction or nonfiction. Um, and for those interested in law school, it doesn't have to be any type of technical legal writing. Just good reading literature material. You could get good legal writers like John Grisham and his legal thrillers.
Mhm.
But number one, read, 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 read. That's number one. Number two, you really need your basic grammar skills honed. So get you a really good little thin, shrunken white grammar book. Learn the basic rules of grammar. Learn how to apply them. They're not really hard if you just take the time to go through that little book.
Mhm.
Build your vocabulary, um, and then write. As you say in your newsletter, writers write, write, practice writing, write, 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 write. And so if you uh, have a journal or keep a journal, that's a great way to just constantly be practicing writing. And finally, edit your writing.
Yes.
Read your own writing, rewrite your own writing. Never be satisfied with the first draft of anything. Reread it, edit it. It can always be improved. And never be so arrogant to think it's perfect the first time it hits the page, because it never is. That's never the case.
Like, I don't know. I may have written one thing in my whole life that I didn't edit, and it was just a very short poem. And I was like, that's good. That's how it needs to be. Everything else in life that I've written has been edited so many times, I can't even keep track of the number of versions that I've edited things. So yes, you got to be willing to revise. You have to give yourself enough time when you're writing to be able to revise. So you can't wait to the last minute to
True.
write things, because then you won't have that time to revise, and you won't be able to put your best self on the page and your best argument on the page. So all very good tips. I don't know if I have my Strunk and White by me, but I don't even have my vocabulary builder. I used to have a book that was a vocabulary builder. Oh, it's across the room, but I do have a dictionary. So guys, just get you a good dictionary.
Yeah.
If nothing else, get you a good dictionary. And for some of you, this is the book we used to use to teach writing here in Oklahoma at the college level, the collegiate level. It's called Writing Matters. And I was actually just at Half Price Books the other day and saw a bunch of versions of it for sale at Half Price Books. So it's a really good textbook to use. So if you go to Half Price Books or you check online at Amazon, it's not super expensive, and just pick that up if you just want to get a feel for writing and try to teach yourself if you're not able to take a class or things like that, or you want to do it and supplement to your classes. It's a really good book. It's one of my favorite books that we use for a textbook for writing. And then my Strunk and White is somewhere in this world of books that I have. I don't know exactly where it is, but I highly recommend that book, Strunk and White, The Elements of Style. And I don't say that lightly, because I ran from it for about 15 years before I read it finally and thought, this is brilliant. It really is a wonderful, wonderful book, and will set you up with a very great foundation to become a strong writer in whatever field you want to be in. Because writing is in every field, y'all. Every field. You got to be able to write, like just basic writing skills. So I don't care what you want to do. I don't care if you want to be in applied mathematics, you still gonna have to write something that is not a mathematical equation. So get yourself comfortable with writing, rewriting, journaling, things like that. And sometimes you may not have the words that can come out. And I tell students and clients, that's okay. Just doodle sometimes and just let yourself be in the process of moving your hand or moving your fingers on the computer. I prefer old school pencil and paper, just to be in that practice of moving my hand on the page. And you never know what may come out. So don't always feel like you have to. Sometimes just write the alphabet. Like, just literally you can write anything. You just need to be in the practice of writing, because we are so often text and using our fingers in that way that we're out of practice with the physical act of writing. So just get your hand moving with a pencil or pen. That's my big tip for y'all. So that is all we have for this welcome back season of Coffee and Composition. I hope y'all will stay with us throughout the season, because we're just going to be diving deeper and deeper into arguments, and definitely stay with us through the whole season, because at the end you will see this beautiful face, not this one, but that one, come back for a special rounding out the season Coffee and Composition. So I hope y'all will stick around and stay with us and get a lot of wonderful information. Again, I'm April, president of A Little More Truth LLC, and I will see y'all in the next videos. Bye. Oh.